So Jerry Jones had some really, really interesting comments on 105.3 The Fan this morning. I'm about to get ready to pull them up. And from the sounds of them, it feels like the demise of Matt Eberflus is soon to come. But we cannot fully let Jerry Jones off the hook. So Jerry Jones, and I quote, had this to say on 105.3 The Fan. We let their quarterback have a big day on us. He's referring to J.J. McCarthy. We let their quarterback have a big day on us. That wasn't the plan. We could have used more pressure without question at different times. The result was that we let J.J. McCarthy make some pretty significant plays out there. Plus, he played pretty well. It seems like we're always saying that about those opposing quarterbacks. Some of them haven't played as well, but when they play us, they play better. I think that's telling. That, by the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, is a pretty beefy comment in regards of the potential future of the defensive coordinator in Matt Eberflus. That's pretty much saying like, yeah, like our defense is bad, and it resembles the defense coordinator because these quarterbacks have went in and played well. And I think I saved the quarterbacks. I think I saved the tweet regarding the quarterbacks who've played well. I thought I saved it, but I didn't. But I can think of it on the top of my head. You've had quarterbacks such as Russell Wilson, who, by the way, was benched in favor for their rookie quarterback in like week 6, week 7 of the NFL season. But he had a career day against that Dallas Cowboys defense in week 2. How about J.J. McCarthy? Over the last couple weeks, we've had many questions about J.J. McCarthy, about him being the answer for the Vikings at the quarterback position. But in one game against the Dallas Cowboys, looked like the second coming of Peyton Manning. Caleb Williams, he's another one. And there was another quarterback as well. I just cannot remember from the top of my head. Maybe Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts hasn't statistically thrown the ball well, but against that Dallas Cowboys defense, yeah, I think it was Jalen Hurts, the name they brought up. Against the Dallas Cowboys, yeah, you have it in a tune-up game. So that's pretty much the overarching comments when it pertains to what Jerry Jones said. Jerry Jones was also hinting around the fact about, I don't have the quote, but I remember it. He was pretty much, and I'm paraphrasing here, he was pertaining to and educating us in the idea that your defensive coordinator needs to adjust his scheme to the players. So he's pretty much saying the fact that Matt Eberflus is a zone guy, but the way the Dallas Cowboys and the way they are structured as a roster, they are not a coverage team. Like, they're really not. They are made to blitz and play man coverage. Like, they're not a zone type team. Specifically, your safeties, Donovan Wilson, he's a box safety type guy. Deron Blanche, Shavon Revel, those are man-to-man corners. And you're out there playing a zone scheme with man-to-man type corners and a blitzing type defense. It's just not working. And that is the reason why the Dallas Cowboys are in the conversation of being part of the 8 worst defenses in the history of the NFL. There was a stat that James Slater brought up roughly a couple of hours ago that the Dallas Cowboys are in the running for being one of the 8 teams in NFL history to give up 500 points in a season. The Dallas Cowboys are in that conversation and are still active. Given their schedule, I don't know if it can happen. Lord, if the Commanders are able to score 30-plus points against the Cowboys, my Lord. Same thing with the Chargers. The Chargers offensively have been terrible. So if the Chargers go out there and drop 30 points on the Cowboys, it's really telling. And there was another quote where Jerry Jones was pretty much hinting around the fact, like, I kind of thought this guy was safe. You know, he's talked about the continuity that he wants. You know, we've had 4 different coordinators in the last 4 years. And he was hinting around the fact, like, yeah, I want continuity going into next season. But he's kind of not saying that anymore. He's like, these next couple of games will pretty much tell if I'm going to keep Matt Eberflus or not. So those are all the comments that Jerry Jones had to make about Matt Eberflus. But as I stated earlier before I read all the quotes, Jerry Jones cannot be left off the hook. I went back and I thought about it. In the past couple years, past 3 drafts, even the last 5 years, outside of DeMarion Overshawn, what defensive talent has Jerry Jones drafted outside of Michael Parsons? When you look at the defensive roster as of right now, there's nobody significant draft picks on your defense. And this is a part of the scouting department that Will McClay and them have been really bad at drafting, is defense. They obviously hit on Michael Parsons, but outside of Overshawn, Bland, those 2 guys, you've not done well drafting. You drafted Mozzie Smith. Like, I can go across the line. They've drafted a Fehoko guy, Mozzie Smith, Jay Toya this year, who can't even get on the field. You've drafted corners. You had the one guy, the Eric Scott kid at corner that they drafted. He's turned out to do nothing. The linebackers that they draft, like, nothing has worked when it pertains to them drafting defensive players. So Jerry Jones is a culprit for the reason why that this Dallas Cowboys defense isn't properly constructed well and is not a good football team from a defensive perspective. You look at the opposite side of the ball. Look at how well they've drafted. They drafted Ryan Flournoy, who is turning out to be a great player in the 6th round. You drafted CeeDee Lamb, offensive lineman, which for some reason they're super comfortable with drafting offensive linemen. I want to know who is part of their scouting department in drafting offensive linemen. You need to take those guys and let them draft everywhere else, because whoever you got drafting the defensive side of the ball, specifically the defensive line, they've not been able to hit on a couple of those picks. I think Donovan Ezra is going to turn out to be a great player. But, man, for some reason, they just cannot draft well. So, and when I thought about it, and I might be defending Matt Eberflus just a bit, just a little bit, but I thought about it, even watching last night. Nobody flashes on that screen defensively for the Dallas Cowboys. What's the one thing we harped on about Michael Parsons for years? He just hops off the screen multiple times a game. When you watch the Dallas Cowboys defense, without him, nobody flashes. Only DeMarion Overshawn has. Pre-injury, even this year, he pops off your screen just a little bit. But outside of that, nobody does. Heck, and this is the reason why I thought about it. I watched the Dolphins last night. Like, they had a couple players who were flying around. Like Jordan Brooks, linebacker. Like, people's had him in a conversation that's a top 3 linebacker in the league. And I'm like, never heard of this guy. Like, he was out there flying and making plays in the cold yesterday. Jack Jones, a cornerback, he's been everywhere. I think he was with the Patriots a couple years ago. He was on the Raiders last year, and now he's on the Dolphins. I think he might have been released. I think he was on the Raiders earlier this year, but got released 1 or 2. And he was just out there making plays. Like, and I was sitting there like, Dallas doesn't have that. Even a couple of edge rushers for the Dolphins making plays. Defensive lineman, defensive interior guy they got. The fifth guy, I don't know, whatever his name is, making plays. The Dallas just doesn't have that. And I'm not defending Matt Eberflus. I'm not. Look, Matt Eberflus is not a good coach. I listen to John Middlecoff multiple times a week. I think he's a great mind, great podcast. I kind of mimic my podcast over him a little bit, and my thought process on storytelling just a bit. And also I'm lying. A lot of that had to do with Colin Cowherd as well. But John Middlecoff knows the game of football. He knows the NFL in and out. Like, John Middlecoff has made the statement, like, Matt Eberflus is a terrible coach. Like, he said Matt Eberflus wouldn't even be in consideration, even close to consideration, for being his defensive coordinator for any team. And I kind of agree with them. Like, dude, linebackers is your bread and butter. You made Shaquille Leonard an all-pro, and I said this yesterday, I'm going to say it again. Shaquille Leonard was an all-pro. You turned Sean Lee into a great player. Linebackers is supposed to be your specialty. Like, that's been the worst position for the Cowboys this year. Outside of corners and safeties, like, that position has been brutal for Dallas. Like, they've had putrid, pretty bad linebacker play. So I really do think that these draft picks coming up are super important. Like these, and I didn't say it yesterday. I don't want to say it because Micah got injured, but in the favor of the Cowboys, that draft pick that they got from the Packers might come up. It's actually the 23rd pick right now. Who knows the way things might turn out in the next couple of weeks. I think the Packers are about to lose this coming up week against the Bears. They're about to face the Bears at home. The Bears are going to be ready to get their get back. So I think that's a loss. That draft pick's going to get a little bit higher. Dallas, they're fixing to play the Chargers. I think they might lose that game. So Dallas right now has the 14th and the 23rd draft pick. Here are some names that I would love to have for the Dallas Cowboys. And we're going to discuss some more Cowboys draft picks for the foreseeable future. But here are a couple of names that I really thought about. Sonny Styles. Everybody's talking about this guy. Reuben Bain, David Bailey, Caleb Downs. Like, if they can get Sonny Styles with the 23rd pick, which is really going to be hard to get him there. But if they can get this guy and Caleb Downs. Like, the thing about Dallas is, with your 2 first-round draft picks, you're going to have to get guys that are there. So, in order for them to trade up and get a guy that they really want, like a Caleb Downs, I think Caleb Downs is like a top 5 prospect. Like, there's no reason why Caleb Downs should get outside of the top 5. So, if they want to get a high-key player in this draft, they're going to have to get rid of that first-round pick that they have. But I think the ultimate formula for the Dallas Cowboys this year, you got to draft 2 key impact defensive players. Like, you really do. And you got to accumulate picks somehow because they don't have another draft pick to the 4th round. I think making some trades, trading some players away right now, that trade for Jonathan Mingo just looks terrible every single week. Like, he barely even played. I think he caught 1 ball this year. The 1 ball that he caught in garbage time last week on Sunday. I think that's the only ball he's caught all year. That trade just continues to look stupid. But you just got to get some draft picks. So it pretty much sounds like Matt Eberflus and his future is in question in Dallas. And even though Jerry Jones even though I agree with Jerry Jones that Matt Eberflus's time should be up for Dallas, let's not deviate away from the fact, and we cannot let Jerry Jones on the hook. He has been a culprit for the reason why the Cowboys defense has struggled these last couple years.